I think last fiscal year, the volunteer hours given equated to 23 full-time employees for Feeding South Dakota. And when you, as a nonprofit, when you think about that, that would just be impossible. We would not be able to have an additional 23 employees, so we would not be able to serve at the scale that we serve. Mm-hmm. So it really is, that volunteer support, that volunteer workforce that makes that possible. Yeah. And so it's really great to hear that, it's not just work. It's enjoyable. Mm-hmm. It's fun. Right. It fills your cup, and it, you want to come back. Yeah. So that's good. Welcome back to 50 Faces of Feeding South Dakota. April's Volunteer Appreciation Month, and it's just a really great time for us to use this platform to elevate the people who give so much of their time and energy to our mission here at Feeding South Dakota. And today we're going to speak with Gary and Kathy. We're in the Rapid City Distribution Center. Gary and Kathy have been longtime volunteers with Feeding South Dakota, and we're looking forward to having conversation and sharing their experiences with us today. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you came in today. Why don't we start? Tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, kind of your history here in the hills.
Well, I was born east of here, down in Myrtle, but I went to high school and everything in Kadoka. Moved here in '72, and I don't know, 9 years ago, we live in Hermosa now, Gary and I do. And we've been doing Feeding South Dakota now for 9 years.
9 years.
And we love it.
That's awesome. Gary, how about you?
I was born in Deadwood, South Dakota, and we lived on a ranch out by Faith, South Dakota.
Okay.
Until my dad got sick, and then we moved to Newcastle, Wyoming, which is about 80 miles from here.
Okay.
And that's where I graduated from high school.
Okay.
And then I moved back over here then again in about 65, I guess. And I've moved in and out of here 3 or 4 times since then. Keep coming back. Nothing like South Dakota.
Yeah, you're right about that. So cattle ranching?
Yes, we had cattle and sheep.
Really rural area.
Yes.
So you've had that rural experience. In Hermosa, how far is Hermosa from Rapid City?
About 15 miles south of here.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about Hermosa. What's Hermosa like?
Very small town.
Okay.
I don't know, population maybe about 300.
Oh, wow.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
It's real small.
Very small town. Grocery store?
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
Like full grocery, or is it more like a convenience store with?
No, it's a grocery store.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, Pop's grocery store.
Dollar General.
Yeah, we have a Dollar General, and then we have, they just build on to the school.
Oh, okay.
'Cause it was a smaller school, and then they just built, 2 blocks or so, brand new school.
So some growth happening, and that's a good sign. And we have a mobile food distribution in Hermosa.
Yes.
So, and that's primarily where your volunteering started, right? Tell me a little bit about how you got started volunteering.
Well, it would park it would park in the Lutheran church parking lot, and our house is just north of that.
Okay,
I mean,
next door.
Yeah, their
Yeah.
parking lot is kind of attached to our property, and I kept looking out the window, and I thought, Feeding South Dakota, and so anyway, I didn't know what it was about or anything, and there was this older couple that I would go over and pick up food for them because they couldn't get out or anything. And then, I don't know who it was, but I asked if they needed volunteers. And he said, yeah, we could use them. And it just started from there, and we've been at it ever since.
Curiosity. Curiosity got you roped into volunteering.
Yep.
So, Gary, how'd that go when she came home and said, hey, we're going to go volunteer over there?
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah?
I was probably swimming at the time, but when she went over there. But then we started doing it there, and then we also do it down at Red Shirt. We're doing it up at Hill City. They don't have Keystone anymore, but we used to go up there in Buffalo Gap.
Is that all in one day, or are they spread out?
No,
Okay.
those are different days.
And it's every month, right?
Yes.
I mean, the mobile food distribution happens every month.
Every month.
So about how many people how many families do you suppose get served at the Hermosa distribution?
Probably 80. I think we did 80
That's a
or
good number.
88, I think is what we did last.
Yeah.
It's growing.
I was going to ask, what have you seen for evolution of that?
Started about 30
Yeah.
Wow.
originally.
And do you remember how long ago it started? I'm not sure. Well, if you've been at 9 years, then it's been at least 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good growth. So maybe as the town's growing, you're also seeing an increase in need for that, or?
Well, we get people from the Keystone area now, and we get from Buffalo Gap. They come
Other
down.
communities.
Yeah, they come down
Sure.
to Hermosa and get their food there.
So what are those communities like? Do they're both small, right?
The Buffalo Gap
And
them,
Keystone,
they
yeah.
were, Buffalo Gap was pretty busy
50 or
because
60.
a lot of people from Hot Springs would come down to Buffalo Gap because the distribution down there is like over 200 people.
Oh, wow.
And so a lot of the people, they didn't want to sit there and wait in line, and once they found out that we were down at Buffalo Gap, then they started coming down there.
Sure.
So.
And Buffalo Gap primarily, I spoke with one of our community partners, and she explained that they have a satellite pantry in Buffalo Gap. That's a lot of ranchers that come in to that town that need food access. Is there a grocery store there in Buffalo
No,
Gap?
nothing.
Oh, so there's really a great need for that food access. So, well, you must have really loved the mobile distribution volunteering if you have expanded your presence.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what it's like to volunteer at a mobile. Talk a little bit about what each of you do what is your volunteer role?
I check people in, and I have fun with the people that I check in. I give them a bad time, and they give it back. It's just
It's lighthearted, good,
yeah,
like joking and
it
fun.
Is, yeah,
Mhm,
it is, and a lot of them will want to talk and tell me stories and stuff like that, and then other people will say, well, if you wouldn't BS so much, you wouldn't, we'd get this line going faster,
You're a little too chatty. I may have been accused of that before.
But it's so much fun. I mean, at least you can get a smile on their face, and a lot of people are so depressed anymore nowadays, and it seems like when you joke around with them and you become involved with them, they're more comfortable. They're more comfortable at coming in, getting food. Before it was like, they felt kind of like,
sure.
I shouldn't be here. And
Yeah.
I said, hey, if you need it, you need it. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, they know me more so than I know a lot of them. I know them by face and everything,
Oh.
but to me, it's just such an inspiration to me being able to serve these people, because a lot of them are really in desperate need for food.
So, when you say check in, you're just, verifying, the things that we need to verify for the
Yes.
food pieces. But that is a great one-on-one engagement with neighbors facing hunger. So, what types of are you seeing mostly seniors, single parent families? Is it kind of a mix?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
A lot of it, I don't know. It's a lot of younger ones and older ones.
Cost has gone up so much. I think
it's terrible.
I saw somewhere that in 2024, 9%, groceries went up 9% in cost. And that was 2024. I mean, we're into 2025, and there's been some additional impact to groceries. And so that is a trend we're seeing across the state, is these either dual income families or families who hadn't needed food access before now coming and needing that. And we're grateful that we can be there for them. But to your point, they're almost like, you don't see me, I'm not here.
Well, the price of eggs is so high. I had to laugh on Facebook where it said, well, this year we're going to have to paint potatoes instead of eggs.
Instead of eggs, dye them. There you go. Well, you never know. My husband joked with me yesterday. He said, I'm feeling like we're rich today. I'm going to have a couple eggs. And, we laugh about it, but for some people, it's a very real thing. And it's a great source of protein and something that people are less likely to buy, not only when budget is tight, but especially when they're this expensive.
Well, and it seems like you need eggs for so many things.
True. If you're doing any baking or not just for breakfast, but
Right.
Yeah. So Gary, what do you do at the mobile distributions?
I usually do right where it starts, the heavy work. I try to do that. It's good exercise for me.
Staying fit.
And we have quite a few older people that can't do that
Sure.
much, but they can do small things. And so
Older volunteers. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I try to do that all the time with that.
So
And
you're
of course,
lifting
yeah.
the boxes into the vehicles, that
Right.
type of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And that is a good workout. They're usually
Yeah,
50 to
they're-
55 pounds a box.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And sometimes they'll have two. I can do two, but it strains my milk.
starts to get a little tough. Because how is it an hour long distribution? So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a long time to be
Work up a
repetitively.
pretty good sweat in an
I bet
hour,
you do.
know.
I bet you do.
But,
I'm sure our staff is appreciative of that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we help them unload and whatever. And I used to run the electric lift. But now he tells me I have to come down and take your course before.
You do. You have to get certified. I even have to get certified
Do
to do
you?
that. Yeah, you
Oh,
can't.
anybody has to.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should bring my Bobcat down, see that?
Hey, they actually might really like that. Don't tell them you have
Oh,
one.
okay.
We have a location in Sioux Falls where a volunteer brings
Oh, do
their
they?
yeah, it's
Bobcat.
pretty slick. Yeah, yeah.
But we do, we have some older people that they have to sign a proxy, and then we pick up for them. And there's some that live down in Fairburn. Now, that's about 10 miles south of us.
Okay.
And we take food down to them, and there's one over in Hill City that we help her out to.
So
for
you're
doing that. So
you are
we got-
literally going the extra mile. You're not
Yeah.
just helping
Right.
with these 1 hour distributions and
Right.
loading in people's car,
Right.
but you're also just out of the kindness of your own heart on your own fuel and your own vehicle delivering to people who
Yes.
can't get to that distribution.
Yes.
Yes,
Wow.
true.
That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
but, yeah,
It's
it's
rewarding, really.
yes.
We get so
It's
many
neat
blessings.
just to help other people.
I was going to ask, what's your motivator?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just helping
Yeah.
people. We
It's a good
just
feeling.
love it.
So, I mean, 9 years, that's a good number. How long do you think, like, you'll keep going with this?
Well, as long as my legs give out or hold up, and
Well, I'm 81 now, so I don't know.
Oh, well,
Never know about tomorrow.
you'll keep going until there's no pie or something like that.
Right, there you go.
yeah, it was so funny when we first started out. I was giving the driver such a bad time because they didn't bring us water one time. And so I said, "Where's our water at?" Boy, they remember that. And I had to laugh at Seth because he always tells the drivers, "Don't forget water. You'll have to
Don't go to
listen
Hermosa
Kathy."
without water. And she's a mean one. So have you had pretty much the same regular group of volunteers there? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
We get new ones every once in a while. But
Sure.
Yeah.
And is that kind of the same in every community? It's
Right. The ones, of course, like up in Hill City, they're all from Hill City. We're about the only ones. There's our neighbor that lives next to us, the Olsons. They go up there quite a bit with us. And
Did you
help.
wrangle them into that? Were you like,
Yes.
you did? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
we
you guys.
talked him into going to start volunteering down at
And-
Hermosa.
It's-
I feel like we need like a star student wall, and we could just put your
Yes,
pictures
so we
on
can
it.
be on it.
And then when we do,
Just kidding.
when
No,
we
I
do-
love it. but the motivation is it's good to help people. But please put my face on the wall.
Yes.
when we do red shirt now, see, we have to drive. That's about 25 or 30 miles
Yeah,
out
Down there.
Yeah.
to help.
And go ahead.
The Olsons and us are probably
About the
we're the
only-
only four. There'll be four of us
Yeah,
usually.
that go down there.
And there's a few other ones that sometimes will ride with us.
And that's all for volunteers when you
Yes.
get there. So red shirt's on reservation, right?
Yes.
Do you see a really big difference between the mobiles on reservation versus what you're seeing off reservation?
Yes,
Yes.
they're definitely more needy.
Oh, there's
down
a
there.
greater.
And
Yes.
it's neat to be down there to help them.
Oh yeah,
know.
and they're so grateful. They're so excited to see the truck pull up and yeah, I know most of them down there.
Oh, of
Well,
course
they
you
know
do.
me.
Because you're social.
Well, it's so funny because at first they were really kind of standoffish, you know,
Sure.
and then I don't know. Now they just, "Oh, Kathy, how are you?" You know, and
That's
they
great.
just start talking, and I just give them all a bad time
Yeah.
and tell them, "Oh, it's so nice to see you," and some I give a hug to, and this one lady, she's Lovey is her name, and I go up and just give her a hug. She's about my age, but she's so frail, and she's so cute, and I just love going up and
It's
giving her
hard
a
not
hug.
to-
Yeah,
to be
it is.
affectionate.
They're so cute.
Well, and I think that, that exemplifies a lot of what we see at mobile distributions. and the importance of having consistent volunteers or a strong volunteer group is that, people can see the efficiency of the mobile distribution, but also you build those relationships with either the guests and or the other people you're volunteering with. And it becomes not just giving your time, to service. It becomes like this relationship building and this, I'm sure if you missed a red shirt distribution, they'd wonder, what's going on, where are you at? And probably the same for you. If there's somebody you're used to seeing regularly and they're not there, you're going to wonder too. And I've been to a few rural ones where that is the case, where the lead volunteer is saying, I haven't seen so-and-so or so-and-so, and picks up her phone and, starts trying to figure it out, right? And that's just such a great example of community taking care of community, that when you get to know the people in your community, regardless of the level of need that they have, you are able to help them more and get them what they need.
Like down at Red Shirt, when we go down there and somebody hasn't showed up, then I talk to the other ones that live down in that vicinity right in there. I'll say, well, so-and-so hasn't been down here. Do they know that we're here today? And I said, or can you give them a call and let them know that we're here?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and that helps because of that reminder, and that there's that need for food access. So when we talk about volunteering, I think people often think about the distribution center. And we chose to talk here at the distribution center today instead of outside, where the weather might not have cooperated the best for us. But they think often of the work that happens in Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Pierre, the various things. Have you volunteered at the distribution center as well, or do you primarily just do the mobiles?
We usually do mostly the mobiles. We've been down there before. And we've come into town, some of those are really big. They do 200 or 300.
In the, dare I say, metro.
AMC.
Yes, yeah.
And we've been down to the fairgrounds. We've helped down at the fairgrounds too.
Yeah.
Now that was like 500 and something on that one.
Yeah, they can get quite large.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yes, the Thanksgiving meal giveaway. That's a great. I've been to Rapid City twice for that, and I've done it in Sioux Falls once. And same that you talk about with mobiles, the gratitude, the happiness, the kids who are happy Thanksgiving. It really is nice.
Yeah, there's like yesterday I had a call from a person who picks up food for some Spanish people, and she wanted to know if I knew if the distribution or if they were going to serve food today or be here today. And I said, no, they'll be there the 25th. And she said, oh, thank you so much. She said, that's why I called you, because I knew you'd know.
Look at, you're like making friends, you're chatty, and you're in the know on everything.
I know, that's why my face should be up there.
Gary, how do you do it?
It's not easy.
But I think you make a really great point, Kathy, because there are communication processes and ways that we try to get it out. If we're changing a distribution because of weather, or sometimes there's an issue at the location, if the church has a funeral or something going on that we have to make an adjustment. And people get in line so early for these distributions. I think there's a fear that we'll run out of food. Yep. So people get in line for them so early. And when you're talking about below zero weather, not including wind chills, it's not the safest thing. For guests to be in their vehicle and for volunteers to be out there. I mean, Gary, how much winter gear do you have? I mean, if you were a rancher, you've got to have it all, right?
Oh yeah, I've got.
So you could do it.
Oh, yeah,
you could load in the below zero temperatures.
I've been outside all my life, so it doesn't.
You're adjusted to it.
Rain or sunshine or snow or whatever.
You've got it. But, that is an important thing to consider. And those are hard decisions to make from an operational standpoint because so many people count on that food.
Right.
And even an adjustment by a few days can be impactful to people. And so it's good that, they have somebody they're comfortable with calling, right? And I'm sure our team that answers the phone is very happy that they're calling you. It helps with the volume here of the phone calls.
Yeah, I even have them call me from Red Shirt to see, what day they're coming, because sometimes they don't know. Usually the principal down there at the school, because we park right there in the next to the school
Okay.
down there, and usually he lets everybody know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when the food truck is going to be there. So, but I've had him call me at home and ask me, you know, what day they were coming.
Yeah.
We were coming down, and so.
You're a great resource. So how about for the two of you as a couple? How has this volunteer work the last 9 years been impactful for you as a couple?
Can we say it on air? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to talk to Ryan about his suggestion. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
Has it been like brought you closer? Is it a relationship builder? I mean, to me, it's like something you're doing together that
Yeah.
you both are enjoying.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
yeah,
Usually, unless Kathy's sick or something, then I go. And,
yeah.
but no,
Last
it's-
time up at Hill City, I wasn't feeling very good, and so he went, you know, but I stayed home. I mean, it's to me, this volunteering is not like volunteering, it's a job that, and if I miss it, it's like, oof.
Oh,
You know,
I
I feel
can't call
really
in
bad.
sick. Or,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
We won't put you on a performance improvement plan,
Okay,
Kathy.
okay.
So it's okay if you can't make it all the time.
No, but-
it's okay. But you take it that seriously.
Yeah, I
and
do.
because you know there's people counting on you.
Yes,
Yeah.
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 And I mean, I really enjoy working with the people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the volunteers, I really enjoy working with them. And I think that helps out a lot too.
Yeah.
Is when you're working with people beside the other volunteers, besides the people that are coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, that's what.
And the staff. I mean, you know almost all of our drivers out of Rapid City by
Oh,
name.
yeah.
You know, very very. And they
Yeah.
know you. So I think I got in a little bit of trouble because I hadn't told a few staff that you guys were coming in today, and they were like, "How come I didn't know?" So I'll have to be better about that next. You really are like celebrities.
Kathy feeds the drivers too. See that?
Oh.
She brown noses them a little there.
I don't brown nose them.
So-
I just feel bad because sometimes, you know, they're on the road. They go
Mm-hmm.
to Edgemont and then they come to Hill City, and like Seth is so skinny. I feel sorry for him because it's
Get
like
that-
you gotta
get
have
that kid some baked goods.
I wish I could give him some of my fat, and then he'd be
Just pass it along. I know that they're very appreciative of that because we do have at other locations some volunteers that, you know, where we feel like we want to treat our volunteers and spoil our volunteers because it's so, and, you know, so great for us.
Well, then why don't they?
Spoil you?
I'm just kidding.
Okay, note to self. Pie. Ice cream.
I'm
Edit,
just kidding.
Bodie, cut that out.
I'm just
but
kidding.
but my point being that you know we do count on that volunteer work, whether it's in the distribution center, at the especially at the mobile distributions, but you know, when it's kind of flipped around for our team, that 'cause they are on the road and it can be tight.
Yeah.
It can be eating your lunch, you know, on the fly, and so I think they just feel really appreciated and really special when people go out of their way to do that. So
Yeah,
thank you.
What was it? I made pickle wraps. And,
Ooh, yeah. Mhm.
and Seth says, you can give me a whole bunch of those if you want to. Those are my favorite.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great.
So,
Well, for people who haven't volunteered at a mobile distribution before, who might realize that there's a mobile distribution in their community, have never really known what it is or what volunteering might be like, what would you say to them?
well, I have one gal that we're trying to get her into volunteering more with us. Gail, she's, you know, she went with us the last time. I went down to Red Shirt. She goes, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm doing. I said, you're doing fine. Just take the tags off the windows, and then, you know, if they need you over to help
Yeah.
get food to put in the cars, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
And she likes it. She really enjoys it. I think it's the fact of getting out. I mean, just getting out of the house and working with people and knowing that these people are in need, and the fact of, you know, if you're a people person like I am, you know, you really enjoy the people.
Yeah.
You know, you get some that are, you
Sure.
know, and that's with everything.
Yeah.
They get kind of, they I don't know if they started out having a bad day or what, but, and so they take it out on you, and you just kind of look at them and say, you know,
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This gal just retired, and I think it's probably just getting out.
Sure.
She's used to doing that all her life, and then all of a sudden, when you retire, that's what's kind of nice about volunteering. You know, it
Yeah.
does get you out. You're not just sitting around watching TV or whatever. But
Kind of like a
I'm
job.
always
You have
doing
something to go
something.
for.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you've got
Yeah.
this schedule to follow and
Yeah.
this,
Yep.
yeah, it gets you moving and gets you going. So just a little bit of curiosity
right,
got you committed to how many mobiles a month?
We do
5 or 6?
three,
four,
three right
Four.
now. Four?
Four.
Four.
Okay. It was 5 or 6 when you were
Yes,
doing Keystone
right.
and
Yeah.
okay.
right.
So that's not typical, and that was by your like. I don't want people to think they're going to come to one and we're like, and we need you at these other
No.
4.
Right,
A
right.
lot of them just go to one.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
ones we go to, you know, they don't.
And, you know, and I mean, like if Ryan calls and says, he texts and says, can you help out at AMC? You know, it all depends on our schedule of what we got going on too.
Right.
you know,
Right.
So, but we try to schedule like our main ones that we go to, like Hill City and Hermosa and Red Shirt. I try to, you know, do our schedule around those because
Because you know
yeah,
the
well,
need is great.
like when you wanted to do that one time, and I said, well, I can't because we have Feeding
Yes.
South Dakota. So
And I'm like, absolutely, go do that. we can
Yeah.
reschedule.
Yeah.
But that's a really good point because when you get into the more populated areas like Rapid City, Sioux Falls, even Spearfish, Deadwood, you know, when we have mobiles there, you have a greater opportunity for volunteer base.
Right.
But because the distributions are so much larger, more volunteers are needed. Versus in those rural communities like you're working in now, you can do it with fewer volunteers. Not to say the volunteer need isn't as great, but I think, you know, you're probably a nice go-to because you know the flow because it doesn't change.
No.
How we do it at AMC in Rapid City is the same as how we do it in Hermosa and
Yeah.
Hot Springs, you know. It's all drive-through. And to your point, it is pretty, like, it can be intimidating because it looks like there's a lot going on and it really has a nice cadence and a nice flow to it that I think once people get in there and volunteer for the first time and realize how simple it can be, that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it is. It's just, you know, usually they just put you to like bread, you know, just give them so much bread, and you're responsible for that area.
Right, right.
And it's not hard. It's not hard work at
Yeah.
all. It's just,
Or the bag of potatoes,
Right.
or the gallon of milk if we have it, or the box of not, you
The
know,
dry
of
box.
perishables, the
Yeah.
dry box, yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you have somebody on each of those things, it can go a little bit faster. And
Right.
I'll tell you what, I don't think I've been to a mobile distribution yet where the volunteers haven't been just upbeat and friendly and, you know, just kind. And for me, it really is a great experience because they're not like, oh my gosh, it's, you know,
Right.
even on cold days or hot days,
Yeah.
you know, there's joking going on and
Yep.
things like that. And so I think that spirit of, you know, happiness is, to your point, if somebody started with a bad day, they may leave there a little bit happier, even though they didn't give you that response.
Yeah.
But, you know, that may be just enough to, you never know how you're impacting someone beyond the food.
That's true. Well, like Gary, he's more serious out on the distribution than I am.
He's probably safety minded.
Well, I don't know what he is.
Keep your feet from getting run over.
Yeah, yeah. See, he's thinking. He grew up on a ranch. He knows what to look for here.
But sometimes I'll get on the mood and I'll just dance and start singing and they'll all look at me. But you gotta have
Gary,
fun.
get her under control.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I interrupted. You've got to have
No,
fun with
that's
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what life is all about, I think, is just having fun. And we do have, like down in Hermosa, we always have fun.
That's good.
We do. We just,
We have to holler at her once in a while. So a little less talk and a lot more action.
Does she hold up the line? Because I've been told the cardinal rule at a mobile distribution is you do not hold up the line. If you're responsible for holding up the line, you're going to get yelled at.
It just isn't me, it's the people, because they got to tell me something, and then, you know,
Yeah.
or I'll get these people that are brand new, and then I got to sign them in.
Takes a
that
little bit
takes
longer.
a little bit
Yeah.
longer to, you know,
Yeah,
sign
and I
'em in.
usually like to share additional resources. You know, contact the helpline center if you need more food assistance or other assistance, because that's a little broader resource. And I've gotten the, hey, we've got to go. 'Cause I'm a little chatty myself.
Well, usually we start out earlier than, you know, because if it's ready to go, then they, you know, some of the volunteers, they want to start out earlier then, and so then we're done earlier. Well, then we get these late bloomers that come in,
Yes.
and then they want to talk, and then I'll be talking to them, and they'll all be standing there. How many? You know.
They're ready to keep it. Like, that's your hint.
But it's fun. I mean, I really enjoy it. I look forward to. I mean, I'm looking forward for Tuesday to come because,
Yeah.
you know, that's Hermosa again.
You
and-
get to do it again.
Yeah, and the people are getting to where, you know, they used to just pull in and block the road, and now they know where to go and how, you know, to.
How to be in a safe way and an efficient way. Yeah.
We usually show up about an hour early so we can get everything set up. So
Yeah.
then it does go smoothly.
Yeah.
And I start checking them in earlier. So then that way, by the time I get down to the, you know, close to the road where they're, you know, coming in and around, you know, then I'm ahead of them, so I
Right.
can talk.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, when I was at Spearfish last fall, they have a very large distribution. I mean, and I've seen it in Sioux Falls, the multiple lines.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the sooner you can get started on, because every family that receives food has to be checked in. So you can have multiple families in a car. And the sooner you can get going on that, then once those cars start rolling, Gary, you know, like it's,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's being packed up pretty quick and,
Yeah.
and moving along.
Yep.
We had one the other day that was 6. I think that's the most I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And of course, they had a pickup.
Well, I was going to say, how'd you fit it all in? That would be a challenge, but yeah.
Yeah, they're packed in there pretty good in the vehicles, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's fun. It's just a good time, and you know, if the people are tired of sitting at home and not doing anything, and they want to do something to get out and
Get out and volunteer.
and
Show up.
volunteer.
Yeah.
Show up.
Yeah.
That's,
Well,
you
we have
know,
109 mobile distributions across the state every month.
Wow.
So that's 109 locations that can use volunteers to help with this. So for me, I think the mobile distribution opportunity is just a really good way to say, if you can't get to Sioux Falls or Rapid City or Pierre to a distribution center, check and see if there's a mobile distribution in your community
Yeah.
that you can get to, because there's still a way to help.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of that full circle of you know, you've got a group of volunteers sorting and packing food that then goes full circle to the group of volunteers who's loading it.
You know, when we were started out up at Hill City, we had maybe 5 of us
Yeah.
volunteering up there. There wasn't hardly any volunteers.
Because we try to go where they need volunteers. That's why we do some of the small,
Oh,
because they
sure.
don't get people there to help.
Those are the
so,
places where
yeah.
it's harder.
Yeah, so anyway, and then the word got out that they needed volunteers. And to this day, now the same volunteers are showing up all the time. And so, which is really nice,
Yeah.
because, and they seem to be enjoying it too.
Good.
You know?
That's the main thing. Honestly, from our standpoint, it is a volunteer workforce. I mean, I think last fiscal year, the volunteer hours given equated to 23 full-time employees for Feeding South Dakota. And as a nonprofit, when you think about that, that would just be impossible. We would not be able to have an additional 23 employees. So we would not be able to serve at the scale that we serve. So it really is, you know, that volunteer support, that volunteer workforce that makes that possible.
Yeah.
And so it's really great to hear that, you know, it's not just work. It's enjoyable. It's fun.
Right.
It fills your cup, and it, you know, you want to come back.
Yeah.
So that's good.
We have a gentleman that cut his hand really bad, and so he can't really do anything. So Kathy put him on as helping her line up, get the cars lined
Sure,
up. where
traffic
they go on.
control.
So there's always something they can
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
That's
Agreed.
very helpful.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
he loves it. He's
See?
just he's just happy as can be, just directing the traffic, helping me direct the traffic while I'm checking him in.
And I think you find people's strengths as
yeah.
well when you have a variety of things to do. You know, you find the chatty people who are the best ones for the check-in, and you find, you know,
Are you calling me chatty?
no, I was referencing myself.
Isn't there something called Chatty Cathy?
I was gonna say it, Gary, but I just didn't know if it would cross a line. Well, my name is Stacy, but I've been called Chatty Kathy myself. So, but you do find like the people who are, you know, have like a certain thing or have a preference for that, and then that just helps it go all the
Right.
faster. So.
Yep.
Well, we really do appreciate the hours and the time that you've given for the volunteer work, and I thank you for coming in today.
Sure.
So that we
Welcome.
could chat. Before we go, though, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if we can answer it.
Yeah.
We'll try.
We'll try.
So if South Dakota were a fruit or a vegetable,
Here we go.
what would it be and why?
I already said banana, but usually we're the banana belt, but this weather right now is calling me a liar.
Yeah, it is cold today.
It is. Usually we don't have weather like this, or it hasn't. I don't remember it ever being cold this long.
Yeah, and that has been impacting mobile. I think as of this morning, there were 16 mobile distributions rescheduled, and 2 of them now have been canceled because
Good.
It's just too
getting it
cold.
rescheduled in the month even is difficult when you have that many to do.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's been tough.
So I would have said banana, but you know.
Do you have a new one?
No.
Oh, all right.
Well, how about an apple?
An apple.
Yeah, apple a day keeps the doctor away. We gave apples this last time.
Perfect.
Didn't
Perfect.
keep my doctor away. Yeah, I did.
Well, did you use it to make apple pie or did
Yes,
you eat it? See, that's the problem.
I did. I made an apple pie.
You're just supposed to eat it for the vitamins and minerals, Kathy. Not coat it in sugar and cinnamon.
Well, you know, you got to do what you got
A
to do.
little bit of butter. Well, thank you so much for joining us today in conversation with Gary and Kathy and learning more about their volunteer work at their mobile food distributions. We're so glad that you tuned in. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to pick up on the next conversations of 50 Faces of Feeding South Dakota. Have a great day.